Hi, my name's Jong and I'm the Worship Minister at St Gabriel's in Cricklewood, which is in northwest London. And I've been the Worship Minister there for nearly 2 years now. But before I came to London, I was a member of the worship team for St Aldate's in Oxford, which is a really big student church with loads of people in the worship team. So I was experiencing playing in a full band every time I played. So it was a real shock to me when I came to St Gabriel's and realised there wasn't all this wealth of musicians, and sometimes it was just me and a piano and a couple of vocalists on a Sunday. So I had to really adapt my playing and rethink how I did things. So I thought it might be helpful to talk about how we can make the most of the team we have when there are big gaps in our team and we don't have a full band every week. So I've come up with 5 top tips and things that I found helpful. So the first thing I found really helpful is to value and invest in what I have. I think sometimes we can be so preoccupied by what we don't have in a worship team that we forget what we do have and to invest in them. So for example, at the moment, I've got loads of vocalists, so I've made investing in them a priority. And so for the first half hour of each of our practices, I do work with them on harmonies, microphone technique and tone. And the difference it's made to their confidence and our worship has been absolutely incredible. And so I would say make team your priority, meet together, pray together, invest in relationships. And also another thing is to invest in the relationship with your lead pastor, because most of the work we do on Sundays involves this close relationship of knowing what's going on in the service. And you know, together you can dream up vision and pray for the kind of expansion and the going forward with your worship team. The second thing I would say that's really important and really obvious is that you should pray. You know, make praying for the worship team a real priority in your church, both in your own prayer life, with your church staff team, and as a church. Sometimes it's really helpful to identify key people in your church who love to pray or are passionate worshippers, to get them to pray for the worship team. You'll be able to see them because you'll be on the stage and they'll be the ones really going for it in worshipping the congregation. And I say make the most of them, ask them to commit to pray. So point 3, choose your songs carefully. I think sometimes because of the great anthems that are out there, especially with all the Christian music we buy, which are live CDs from conferences, we think that all of them can be transferable to Sunday service. And the truth is, when you haven't got a full band in particular, some anthems just won't work. I would just encourage you to think about transposing songs. And there's this amazing resource from CCLI that you can buy as part of your copyright license, which is called Song Select. And basically you can download any song in any key, the chords or the lead sheet with the written music, and make the most of it. Think about your congregation and the band and the sound you've got. I think sometimes when we don't have many people in our band, we get really tempted just to like whack out the rhythm and do as many notes as possible on the piano or just full-on strumming on the guitar. But you can still be creative in worship. You just have to adapt your playing to the sound. You have to go for a more acoustic-y feel if you haven't got a full band. And so I'd really encourage you to think about how you play your instrument. If you're on guitar, you know, try muting the strings when you strum. Try a bit of finger picking. If you're feeling really creative, why don't you stick some slaps and hits, whatever they do on the guitar. I know for me that if it's just me on a piano, I really make the most of my bass notes and use them sparingly for when I'm building and trying to get that moment of uplifting. So I'd really encourage you to be creative. You can still add harmony, you can still add texture and colour, you can still move with the music and create an atmosphere. You've just got to kind of think a bit more creatively. And the last thing I want to say is that you should lead with confidence. You know, you've got every reason to be confident. Mike Pilavachi says this wonderful thing, which is God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. And if you've been called to lead worship in your church, God is able and will equip and anoint you to do that, to lead people in worship. So you've got every reason to be confident. And what's really wonderful about leading worship is that it's not like performing, it's not like a gig, it's not all on you and how well you do, although of course we should give God our best. You know, we have this wonderful opportunity to work with God to bring people into a place of worship. So you're not doing it on your own, the Holy Spirit is doing it with you, which is just amazing. And I'd say it's important to lead with confidence because people respond to confidence. If you go out there and you're really timid and shy and you don't sing out and you kind of try and hide behind your microphone, then the people will pick up on that and that atmosphere and they'll be really uncomfortable and they won't be confident to worship because they'll be really thinking about themselves and probably feeling sorry for you as well. So I would say confidence is really infectious, and it will get people to worship and give them the confidence to worship. So I hope that's been helpful for you. I'd also like to say that it's really important to make the most of these networking events, and it's great that New Wine thinks it's important to put us in touch with each other, because we're all in this together and we can encourage each other. So I'd say go and chat to loads of people, exchange emails, get to know who's in your area so you can meet up with and encourage one another, maybe even borrow musicians.